that we all go through, right? Just the fact that we can change our physique and evolve. But what I admire the most is the hard work. And even during, competition day, I'm looking at the women and I'm telling everybody, you look amazing. Don't be nervous. I'm in the back supporting everybody. But it's just, knowing what they went through because I'm going through it too. So I admire the hard work.
Yeah, because this is hard work. Most people, if you look at bodybuilding, they always associate it with, performance enhancers and steroids. Everybody says, if I take this, I look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can like agony and I can get to the chopper. But here's what I learned: it's only a very small percentage of what they use, the gear. If you don't follow the diet, if you are not consistent and persistent on your workouts, you're not regimental on your plans. You can take all the shit you can take, but you're not going to look like the Andrea Shaws, or even you look at there's a guy who's popular. His name's Sam Solik. He's very popular on social media. Those people still have to train and work hard and be consistent on their diets and their
Correct.
planning workout plans.
That is absolutely correct. Because I've seen people walk around and they talk about, well, I'm doing this and that, and he man. And I'm looking at them like, you look like crap, and then you see them out and about on their IGs and they're drinking and eating a massive amount of food. And I'm just like, what are you doing? You're screwing up your body for what? You have to be willing and able to put in the work. You
Yeah,
can't get around that at
yeah.
all.
Yeah, it is about work, because you know what? If you don't put in hard work, you don't go in the gym and train and follow the instructions like what Dave gives you, and also the stuff that Sydney's working with you. You're not going to be the top level competitors. Here a man, Vito Bill. Shout out him. He says this. He says, in great shape. Appreciate that. He also says, great show guys. I appreciate that too, brother. Also, it's my man, Brooke Burrell. Shout out to Brooke. He says, Queen Sandra, you are the definition of super athlete. And also one thing, Queen, he says, Queen Sandra, what foods do you truly miss eating while you become the super supreme athlete?
You know what? It depends on what phase I'm in. Sometimes I miss chips. Our French fries. I love French fries. But I think those are the two things in tacos. I can eat like so many tacos. But other than that, I'm so used to eating clean. When I do have a chance to eat a cheat meal, I'm like, I want my ground turkey back. But yeah, definitely tacos, chips, and French fries.
Yeah, that thing is, some people they love those carbs. They're beautiful when they digest it, but sometimes it can be harmful when you, especially your process as an athlete. It's good,
Correct.
yeah, it's good to eat smart, but every now and then it's like a, as long as you get a little something that tastes really good, and that smell. But like I said again, you got kids at the house, and I know the kids they don't say, "Mom, what you cooking?" Well, I'm cooking you this. I'm eating this. So,
Yes.
and y'all stay over there in y'all corner, and I stay over here.
So I meal prep every week. So I already have my meals prepared. So I do cook them dinner. So I make them dinner and I go upstairs and they eat. The good thing is that all three of them they know how to cook. So my oldest son he'll go on there and cook a three-course meal for everyone in the house. And then I have to put like a towel underneath my door so I don't smell it. He's like, I'm cooking steak and potatoes. You want some? I'm like, you know I can't have it. He goes, I know. I was just trying to see what you
That's what you're supposed to
were
do.
saying.
That's what we do. The boy say, "Boy, mm, mm, mm."
Right.
Yeah." But yeah, but anyway, going back to that, we will get away from the food now. Now you turned pro. That was the teen collegiate show in
In
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
And what was that feeling when they told you? Because a friend of mine also, she turned pro that show too. What's that feeling when they officially say now you're IFBB pro?
You know what? The first thing that came to my mind, I was like, I can go change my Instagram name now. And then after that, it was okay. Let me go get to work so I can do my next show. Right? Let me go improve. It didn't fully hit me until I got back home, and my family were, everyone was congratulating me, and it's just like I really did it. This is what I worked for. So I felt great. I felt truly blessed because not everyone has that opportunity.
Yeah, because I know some ladies who have competed for a long time and they never turned pro. Some it took them years before they got the pro cards. I've interviewed a couple ladies who got their pro card within the time they made um their debut as competitors. Some even less than a year or two, because I think
Right.
there's more divisions now there was back in the day. There's women's bodybuilding. Now you have physique figure. There's a new division coming out. Excuse me. Every time I talk about it, I don't want to mention it, but I can't help myself. I'm just not a fan of it. But yeah, it's that experience, that time, you work you put in, and then and get rewarded for it because you feel like I bet you feel like it's like something out of a movie. Like I did it, like Rocky. Remember in a Rocky 2 when he says I did it, yeah, I did it. Were your kids there, or was it just you by yourself?
I was there by myself. So, but
Oh,
I kept in constant communication with everyone. Everyone was texting me. So, what's going on now? Did you figure out if you want it or not? Send us pictures. And so, yeah, it really didn't hit me that I actually achieved one of my goals until days later.
now, one thing is you made your pro debut the same time you turned pro. Most competitors take like maybe a year or two out, for it so they can grow. Why was that decision? Because
That was the decision of my coach at the time.
uh,
So my first show was Daytona Pro, and I placed top five in that show.
that's pretty good. I mean, I think who won that show was Elena Alvarez. She won that show, and and there was another lady who competed. I interviewed Kathleen. She also was in the top five that show. I mean, I think this year they're not going to have the Open anymore. I think they said that they dropped it. And the show this weekend they have coming up is the Legion show. Now have Women's Physique. Now you're coming as a pro. You've seen that the numbers are kind of dwindling for Women's Physique, and it's just about as bad as Women's Bodybuilding. What's your thoughts of it? How everything, which is like I said again with the new division coming in, and it's just you feel like it's harder for y'all ladies now than it was when we first started.
I believe so, right? And there's a lot of women that are intimidated by it because you see these, and for me, I'm 5 foot and a quarter. I have to put the quarter in, and I'm tiny on stage, and it can be a little intimidating, but I approach it as I worked hard, I deserve to be here, so let me get on stage and showcase, what I've been working towards the past couple of months.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
12 weeks.
like I said, when I talk to some ladies, they tell me you have to be dedicated about this sport because you know what, there's a lot of work to it. Like I point like this out mostly for y'all ladies. There's more for it because one thing is you change the aspect where it's feminine. You're a woman with three kids, and there's people always going to make these prejudgments. Says, hey, she's trying to be a man. She got muscles. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. But here the thing is, this is about dedicating yourself to a sport, and that was bodybuilding. It's a sport. It may not be the typical sport like baseball, football, basketball. You
Right.
know, it's not as very lucrative compared to other sports, like especially certain divisions, especially the men's division, like as I call them, the banana hammocks and the boy shorts. You just saw there's a lot, shake up that Arnold just prize the prize money for the men's open at the Arnold Sports Classic. I know it's a show, and I know, but then again, you kicked out women's bodybuilding, physique, and figure, and even 212, which I don't care about that. That's the guys. 212 guys can go to classic or they can go to open, but there's so much expense compared to because yes, the guys got their expenses, but y'all ladies, it costs y'all a little more.
It's a lot of money to compete, right? You have to think about your competition suit alone is thousands of dollars. On top of hair, makeup, nails, your flights and competition costs, registration costs. So it's a lot, and then your supplements and food and training and coaching. So It adds up over a while. And so what I've seen and what I've heard is that a lot of women, they're like, no, we don't want to do it. We can't compete. Do you see the women on that stage? We don't want to put in work and not win. But I tell people you have to change your mindset. You definitely have to change your mindset. You can't be intimidated. You put in the hard work and then you just go for it. You never know what's going to happen. What's meant to be is meant to be, right?
Yeah, there's one lady who I interviewed, and she's like 59 years old, going to be 60. Her name is Robin Mays. This lady, if you've ever seen her, her body is just amazing, and she's still dedicated to the sport. I think a lot of people can't do what y'all do because, like I said, so much sacrifice to it. Not only your money, your time, your body, your spirit. Sometimes it can be, being such a extreme sport, bodybuilding can have cause health issues. There was a young lady who passed away because she was prepping for a show and she died of dehydration. Bodybuilders dealing with, one guy who I follow, he's a legend, Mr. Ronnie Coleman. He's has issues because of,
Right.
went through his life. But if you understand what's involved in the sport, and if you still love it, and you still really want to work in the sport, then you should do it. It's like I said again, like Ronnie said like this, says everybody want to be a bodybuilder, but no one lift this heavy ass weight.
Not at all. They don't want to make the sacrifices either,
Yeah,
right? It
I
takes a
know.
lot of sacrifice. I'm up at 2 a.m. every morning. Wake up at 2 a.m. I hit the gym, get home, take care of my kids. I work in the evening time. I have clients, and then try to be in bed by a decent time, which is by 8 o'clock. Right? I need to be in bed so that I can get up and do it all over again. But it takes sacrifice. It takes saying no. There's so many people that contact me. Oh, you want to go out? No, I need to be in bed. I don't want to go. No, I'm not going to a bar. That's not my thing. But do you want to meet me at the gym? No, I don't have time for the gym, but you have time for the bar, right? So make that make sense. So a lot of people they don't want to sacrifice, and it takes a lot of sacrificing to be able to do bodybuilding.
Yeah, that's the thing is, yeah, that's sacrifice because people sometimes people enjoy the pleasures of life, and then you have to cut out that little thing. Like I worked in a club, and it was a booty club, and guys like to come out there have a good time. But then if you have enough time to come in there and to sit and drink, what's a few hours or half an hour to sit in the gym and work out a little bit. But the thing is, because they have to be wanting and willing to do it. If they're not, there's no purpose. So, and I know ladies told me that friendships change because they're doing something different. I know, especially like if you go out, you can't eat like everybody eat. Ladies tell me that sometimes you have to bring your own food.
Right.
One friend told me that she was invited to a wedding. She came, but she couldn't eat there because what's usually on the list of weddings, chicken, steak, or fish, and she couldn't eat that. Couldn't eat the cake. But you know what? This is for you. And if those people who are your friends don't understand it, but it's a good thing that you do have support your family because sometimes it's tough. I have ladies told me because sometimes family don't understand it. I know your mom, she supported you. Your dad might be a little different at first. He said like, I don't want my girl to be my boy, but as long as he knows that you love something and he supports you.
Yeah, and it took them a minute to come around. They call me by my middle name. They call me Danielle. They go, what craziness did Danielle get into now, right? Because they're seeing me pose and they're like, no, 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 what is she doing? You're going to hurt yourself. And now they're extremely supportive and they understand because they've gone through this process with me over the past years and they go, we get it. We love what you do and you look amazing and they're all super supportive. They go, this is not something that we would do, but we will support you and your goals.
Has your father ever come to one of your shows? I didn't know your mom has.
Yes, he came to the first couple of shows. Him
That's
and
good.
my mom, yeah. So they came to the first couple. Now I travel, to compete. But the plan is to hopefully do a show here in California where he can come out and support it.
Oh, so the playing show. So what show you think you want to try? Because I know there's a show coming up in September. It's the Grand Prix. It was last year they had it. They had women's bodybuilding. They had fitness and have, I think, men's classic. But I think this year they'll add women's physique. Or is that one of the plans? Or
There's
would you?
there's one in San Diego, and I think there's one in Anaheim coming up. I have to double check.
Yeah, that's the
But
one. The
that
grand.
should be a fun show, so my family can come out and see me
Yeah,
on stage. Yeah,
yeah. I think Anaheim is that's Grand Prix. That's the one in Anaheim.
yeah.
San Diego. They don't have one.
They have shows in San Diego almost every weekend.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Usually California is the mecca for bodybuilding, but there's so few shows for most definitely for physique women's bodybuilding. Bikini, wellness, the other divisions, I think they get more attention.
Yeah,
I think one that's really big is the Texas Pro. That's right there, Sarah
ooh,
yeah.
there's heavy hitters at that show.
Yeah. I saw one lady, she made an announcement she's gonna do the champion last year, Zama Benta. Wow, she's just
Right?
cool. Wow. And she's like yourself. She's a mother. She has two kids. She got two boys, and her body just crazy. I mean,
And it's true,
wow.
everything's bigger in Texas. And so I'm like, I did a show in Texas once, and I looked like an ant compared to everybody else on the stage.
Well, I understand it's tough, especially like you said, you're 5 feet. But most of the ladies I know who are maybe a little over 5'5". I interviewed a lady who's like she just made her pro debut. She's like 5'9". I think with y'all smaller, shorter ladies, you can put on more muscle compared to ladies who are a lot more taller. I think it takes
It's more
more.
active. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because your body's more compact. You can boom. I think
yeah.
I think one of the ladies I mentioned to me how it's a lot easier to put on muscle because again, because your size, it takes a lot more time for the taller women. Like if anything past 5'5", like Rachel, she's like 5 foot tall, and and her physique is crazy.
And it's definitely crazy. I hope she didn't take offense because I was just looking at her like, oh my God, because I follow her on Instagram, and it's just like seeing her in person, it's just like, whoa.
Yeah,
And I was like, she's a little person just like me.
that's
So,
yeah.
yeah, it was definitely, amazing show to be at. So.
Yeah, it's experiencing. Like I say, the people like myself, like one of my crimes, Sandra, is I'm a muscle very smelly. Y'all muscle ladies cite me. I just, but from we see on stage, that's a different look compared to in real life. Like I know from my conversations, what we see is different for what we know. Like we don't realize the starvation, the dehydration, the tired, hangry, hungry feelings you get when you're on stage. But we see these beautiful, amazing bodies, this beautiful presentation, but don't know the work that's involved in it. And I know, it's good that instead again you have support your friends and family, your kids stand by you, because it's not a lot of people that do support women in this sport.
Correct.
And like, are you been sponsored or everything is on your shoulders?
Everything right now is on my shoulders. So I'm looking for sponsorship. So if there's anybody listening out there, hey, I'm available for sponsorship.
Yeah, that'd be
I
good
have to
because
put that plug out there.
yeah. So anybody out there who's interested in sponsoring her, because these athletes can use it because it saves the cost of the suits. Because right now the suit right there, that's your rent or maybe a mortgage. The travel costs. To help them
Correct.
with that. But guys, we don't want those weird guys. Like, hey Sandra, I saw your last show and that beautiful back. Yeah, you're a beautiful chocolate lady. But hey, stop that, you sick freak. This is
Right?
what this is when you approach a lady like a lady saying, Miss Sandra, I am very interested about you, and I think you have an amazing story about yourself. So, if you are interested in being part of our program where we help athletes gain their strength and their abilities along the way, and also if it's something that might work with your process, let us know. We'll have to see you further along your career. So, just be open to the idea of working as an ambassador with a company.
Right. And I do have some ambassadorships. So I have a couple of those, which I'm happy for because I get my supplements for, a discount price.
Don't tell nobody.
And
Yeah,
I can
that's
also provide you guys the codes for that.
uh,
But I'm very particular about the supplements that I take, so I don't do any ambassadorships for companies that I know I'm not going to use. So if I'm putting something online, just know that I'm using it. I'm not going to tell you to use something that I'm not.
And that's good because you know what? I know a lot of ladies they have to find ways to make a living, even if you have a job and a career. Bodybuilding again for the women is a lot more expensive compared to anything, especially on show day. I know some ladies they have to do certain sites to make their money, but hey, it's not for everybody. You have kids, and you have to be more respectable.
Right.
You have to understand when you get into sport, all involved in it, the work, the time, the process, and also sometimes you have to sit down. Ladies tell me sometimes you have to sit down at the end of the year, saying, okay, I have to sit down, see were calculated like there was shows New York Pro. There was only three women women's bodybuilding, but unfortunately, because some of those ladies had to pay off debts from the last year and the cost of traveling and try to do multiple shows. It's harder for anybody. If the lucky few who are like Olympia level competitors who get sponsorship or have people that take care of your finances, but like for anybody else in the sport, it's a lot.
It's definitely a lot. And I tell people if you want to be in bodybuilding um, and you want to take it all away, sit down. You definitely need to analyze what you can and cannot afford and approach it that way. Um, I would never discourage anyone from stepping on stage, but definitely look at your finances and make sure it's feasible. I'm the type of person I don't like to half-ass do anything. Sorry for cursing. So it's either all or nothing. So last year's when I sat down and say, okay, I want to at least do two to maybe three shows. So what does that look like? What do I need to save for? And then you start planning that way. So for me, that works. Um, I try to incorporate, the cost of coaching, each individual show, try to determine flights, hotel costs, or whatever the case may be. But you definitely need to sit down and analyze that aspect of it as well.
Yeah, like that's why you say you want to do a show in California, which is a lot closer for you. There's the Arizona Pro, which is part of the Rising Phoenix. That's in Arizona. It's not too far. You can drive there or you can
Correct.
fly there. Just trying to find the right flights that work within your schedule and also the prices. There is a lot of you have to like one friend told me said sometimes you have to you have to steal for Peter to pay Paul. But if you understand what's involved in it, all the factors, financial factors, the scheduling, everything that's involved in it, you can make a career as a bodybuilder. I wish it was more a lucrative sport, especially for y'all ladies. I wish it's like any sport. I wish it was more where you can make a living off of it. Where hey, I wouldn't have to do this. I just do the training stuff for fun, and that's a little side money. But this is where I can make a living. But because one thing with bodybuilding, because it's always going to be bastardized because of the issue of steroids. But steroids is in every other thing in the world, every sport. Like as fighter says, almost everybody takes it. Everybody takes steroids, either being in your inhaler, being in your, use it for growth issues, use it for this and that. But it's so easy to pick on bodybuilder compared to those other sports that do take it.
Correct. And what I've noticed, it's always the people who don't have the motivation to get up and put in the work. They don't look as good as they should, right? Those are the ones that are complaining and talking about other people, right? So if you don't have the drive to get up and put in the hard work, just keep your mouth shut. You know, it's I don't know, it's crazy the amount of people who look down on bodybuilding. So
So you say people that look like me with guys with boobs and who got two bad knees like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay. But
no, you actually respect the sport,
I know. I'm
right?
just picking. I'm just
So
picking. Yeah, but yeah, I
yeah,
respect it. Like I said, doing this content. Like I said again, I was a fan of the bodybuilding, and and y'all ladies, y'all got my attention a little more because I was getting my like. But doing this content, I get to learn more. The sacrifice of time, the work. I reach out to ladies. Hey, you want to do an interview and talk about yourself? Some ladies, I would love how Andre out here one of these days. That'd be my dream. You know, but
we
when
have
I
to
get
start
talk
working on that, make it happen.
I will, I know I've sent some requests to her, but I know she's a busy lady. She's here and there. So if she ever gets back to me, I'll, but yeah, if anybody wants to do the sport who's focused and dedicated to it, yes, But if you're not willing to make those sacrifices, you're not willing to give up the late night hanging at the bars, you're not willing to give up the fried chicken. I know I don't eat fried chicken too often, but I enjoy it. But if you're not willing to make those changes in your life, because it's not just a change of your diet, it's also a change of your lifestyle. It's
It's a
gonna
way of
be,
life.
yeah,
You
yeah.
don't look at it as a diet, it's a way of life. Right now, I don't even have to think twice about eating healthy or going to the gym. It's just my way of life. So when you approach it as a temporary thing, as a diet per se, you're not going to make it very far. You're not
Mhm.
going to achieve your goals. You actually have to change your lifestyle.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's good that you realize what you want out of it. Because most people wouldn't understand. Like again, said again, most people understand why would you put yourself through this? Because you love this sport, and you also love the discipline and also the persistency and the consistency you gain from it. I think if anybody gets it, you have to understand that. If you're not willing to understand that, then okay, do what you do. But if you have something to say about what I'm doing, just like this basically say to quote my favorite comedian all the time, Mr. Bernie Mac says, "Boy, people don't like you, fuck them." That's
That's how I live my life. I keep my circle tiny, right? Because you always hear, when are you gonna just put it on hold and take a break? What do you mean? There's no taking a break. There's no such thing. I'm in the best shape of my life in my 40s than I was in my 20s. Not only physically, but healthy, and mentally as well, right? When I'm at the gym, that's just my relaxation place. I can be at the gym for 2 to 3 hours, just lifting. I always take my time and just, I dance around the gym a lot too. Especially if that sun comes on in between sets. I'm sitting there dancing and singing, and that's my happy place. So.
Mm, yeah. There was times when I was like, remember we Tombstone when Doc Hollis said, "No, sir, I'm in my prime now."